We got Shea? Okay, we got Shea. Hey, Shea, how are you, man?
I think I was messing around with different AirPods. Rookie mistake.
Happens. We appreciate it. Hey, final home game of the year this weekend in Tiger Stadium. What's on tap from a recruiting perspective here for the final home game?
Yeah, look, Western Kentucky. We talked about this a week ago that you won't get a ton of big names in, but I think it'll be similar, Matt, to this past weekend, which was get your commits on campus, get guys for next year on campus, whether it be in LSU or in Louisiana or outside the state. And look, without a head coach or new staff in place or the unknown of it, it's tough to flip guys. They did it once already. But they're also bringing in some guys that they feel through evaluation and have had late rises in Louisiana. And notably, they're all receivers. And look, we've seen this before. Foster Morrow fit that bill at tight end. Russell Gage is a receiver. Like, these are starters at LSU and future NFL players. So it's always nice to bank on that built-in talent in Louisiana. And they flipped Kervin Johnson. We talked about that a few weeks back. That was like the day after Brian Kelly got fired. This past weekend, they brought in another guy, Brayden Allen, who plays at LCA over in Lafayette, which is where Juwan Johnson and Shea, all those guys all came out of LCA. And he's had a huge senior year, and so much so that Tulane took his commitment right when the season began. Then he took off. OU flips him. And then they brought him in for a visit this past weekend. But by the time the dust settled on the visit, and given the unknowns at LSU and the not so unknowns at Oklahoma, which didn't seem to be the case 2 months ago, but turnaround of a season there. And he said, hey, look, I'm talked to my family and I'm sticking with this decision. So with signing day a few weeks away, it's tough to pull guys away from a commitment to a program that's got stability, which is kind of a thing we talked about this time a week ago when they had the only guy who decommitted from this class, DeAnthony Lafayette, not from Louisiana, he's from Florida. And he said, look, I wanted to play at LSU, but I'd have to sign here in a few weeks, and I don't know who's going to be coaching there. So I'm going to just go to Miami, the other school that's been recruiting me, who is not going to have any coaching turnover.
We'll get right back to the video, but thrilled to welcome Our Lady of the Lake to AFR LSU. As the championship health partner of LSU athletics, the physicians at Our Lady of the Lake serve the champions on the field in the purple and gold, but that same level of care is available to you and your family. I've been a proud supporter of Our Lady of the Lake my entire life, from volunteering at the Ronald McDonald Playroom as a high schooler to helping so many of the fundraising efforts for the standalone children's hospital, to my own son being a patient now at that very children's hospital, and my primary care physician, Dr. Kurt Chastain, at Our Lady of the Lake Men's Health Group. Our Lady of the Lake has been a part of my medical journey my entire life, and you can learn more as well. Our Lady of the Lake and LSU. Together, we roar. Shea, the other thing that is a giant part of this whole process right now is in LSU's pursuit of Lane Kiffin, what may happen with guys who are currently committed, and then, excuse me, I had to sneeze. And then what about potential flips from other schools? So play that hypothetical with me if you would. If LSU does hire Lane Kiffin, I mean, it's very much in play right now. What would that mean for potentially flipping guys in that class to LSU?
I think it could come into play. I lean more into the portal, right? Like what players on Ole Miss's team may follow Kiffin to if he leaves wherever he goes. We're playing the LSU kind of angle here. So a quarterback, he's got two of them. One of them is pretty good and doesn't even play. He found the other one on Twitter. So like, there's two guys that most people would bring up, and obviously, look, they took Malik Neighbors' high school quarterback in Trey Harris and made him into an all-SEC type receiver who went on to get drafted. So, yes, they'll have guys on that roster that they'd be interested in. Recruiting-wise, I think more so than, guys flipping from Ole Miss to LSU, it might be just the ability to stabilize what you have and sign in the early period, December 3rd to 5th. And I say that because right now, yes, Lane's denying ultimatum
Yeah.
That there is no ultimatum. Well, I guess, Matt, you could. What are we playing a verbiage game here? Or, I mean, is it? It's kind of like, look, I'm certain from everyone we've talked to, I've heard you talk about it too, and rightfully so. Ole Miss would like to know an answer too, because if he leaves, they're thrust into this coaching carousel that everyone else has had a head start on. So much so that one of these teams, if they get into a coaching search, Matt, one of these teams got such a head start that they hired Lane Kiffin. So why would Ole Miss want to be caught behind the eight ball there? And there's talk around Summerall, who is the clear favorite for Auburn. Well, what if Ole Miss wants to get into the Summerall mix? So when you toss in the playoffs, everything around the program, and then them dealing with signing day, right? Like, they've got a bunch of commits who are wondering what's going to happen here from December 3rd to 5th and what the staff will look like. And Kiffin's been given plenty of opportunities to turn it down and say, I'm staying. And the Brent Key cut me open and see what I bleed, or the Dan Lanning just very quickly, just, I'm literally not leaving Oregon. Don't ask me anymore about it. And that hasn't been the Lane Kiffin approach. So there's a lot of schools that are sitting around with recruits, current players, all wondering, hey, are we about to lose a coach? Or, hey, what is the ultimate path that we're going to hire a new staff, whether it be LSU, Florida, or Auburn, or Arkansas?
Shea, there's a lot of hypotheticals, which will be fascinating, which I don't think are going anywhere until obviously we get finality with Lane Kiffin's decision, or that domino falls. But one thing that we do know, of course, is there's been updated recruiting rankings for this class, and the guy that's been steady with LSU throughout, Lamar Brown, got a bump in the Rivals 300. Let's talk a little bit about the prospect from U High, now number 5 in the nation.
Yeah, number 5 at Rivals, number 1 overall on the Rivals industry rankings, which, compiles all of the major services into one. And he had held that spot before, but now he holds firm in what is the back end of everyone's senior seasons. And not often is a kid of that size who could play O-line, D-line, either way, ranked as the number 1 athlete, right? That's usually a kid that you don't know if he's playing receiver or corner yet, and he's just good enough to play either. The Travis Hunter types finished as number 1 athletes. Lamar Brown is not that. He is all of 280 something. He is well over what, Matt, 6'4", 5, north of that. Yeah. I mean, he is about as good looking as a high school prospect in the trenches as you can get. So he keeps his 5-star status, keeps number 1 overall in the industry rankings. And then old Richard Anderson, who nobody from the city will be surprised by this, and they'll just ask how it didn't happen sooner. But from about his junior year, midway through his junior year, through Carr's state title game, and now Carr again is one of the best teams in the entire country, he's a big reason. They have a lot of good players, but he's single-handed. I mean, he could get triple teamed, and he wins every time. There's been coaches who have told me, off the record, they can't speak on high school recruits who aren't signed, that he's the best D-tackle they've evaluated in their careers, not like 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, that this is the best Louisiana D-tackle up there with the Glenn Dorseys and other guys who came out as highly touted prospects and then had great college and pro careers. So Richard Anderson gets his 5-star. I think he's in that top 15 range. So you've got 2 guys, and Lamar Brown wants to play D-line. So 2 of your D-linemen, and you've got a handful of them still committed, are 5-stars. Talking about winning in the trenches, and I know everyone cares about the O-line right now, but boy, don't skip over a reality where you're a few weeks away from signing 2 5-star D-linemen that everybody considers 5-stars, meaning they're probably going to live up to that billing.
Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. Shea, any other prospects, any other movers in the Rivals 300 we should be aware of in these new rankings?
Yeah, one guy who moved up again, for us at least, and he's still a top 10 overall offensive tackle, so we can talk about that position with the Rivals industry rankings, but we moved him up a bunch of spots. That's Brysten Martinez out at East Ascension, and he's sort of stolen any sort of like WAFB, WBRZ type Friday night lights breakdowns, because you've got a kid who is about a really athletic offensive tackle, but he's still an offensive lineman, and he's like taking carries, he's throwing passes, he's running routes at tight end, and we got a glimpse of that in summer camp, but then they go out there and they just start rolling it out in games. So you talk about a kid who is athletic enough to play either left tackle or right tackle, that's Brysten Martinez, and he's a top 10 offensive tackle in America. And I will note, Texas is heavily on him, and he's made a visit, and he's doing his official visit. So, yes, you've got to, with 3 weeks till signing day, line things up. Look, Sloan was his area recruiter. Sloan got fired. He had committed at a time when Brian Kelly was head coach. Brian Kelly got fired. Brad Davis is his line coach. We don't know what the future holds for Brad Davis. So for a 17-year-old to have that many unknowns, the folks around him are going to suggest, hey, look, you need to go ahead and at least explore your options. But again, he's a kid from the area. I think his hope is that everything works out and he can sign with LSU.
He's Shea Dixon, on 3, the Bengal Tiger. We appreciate it as always, man. Thank you for the time.
Yeah, Matt, and real quick, I guess I should say, if Lane is kept to some sort of ultimatum, whatever it is, and a decision does come before the Egg Bowl, and it is LSU, that would make that December 3rd to 5th signing period much easier to navigate.
I would, Shea, I think we're going to have a decision from Lane Kiffin. Listen, if it's in the immediate hours after the Egg Bowl, okay, but I think that's the absolute latest this goes. Hard to imagine us even getting there without there being some finality here of what they're. I don't know if you have any insight or know anything on it, and I don't know if it's going to be him staying or picking LSU or Florida. It just feels like Ole Miss is pressing that they need an answer, because if they're going to have to go find a coach, they want to get in that cycle now.
I agree with you, and I think that no matter whom gets hired, right, Matt? I go back to the conversation you had with Verge, where he said by that early signing period, sure, we'd love to announce a coach. We'd at least really like to know the direction we're going. So I think that I maybe didn't put as much stock into them wanting to know things for that early high school signing period, and I had my focus on the portal in January. Now I'm with you. And I'll believe Verge there that they would like to know by then, either by naming a coach or who it would be.
Yeah. All right, Shea, we always appreciate it, man. Thank you.
You got it, Matt.
All right, be well. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.